How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Creative Process. As you know, my name is Jaden, and right next to me I have the Loose Moose. How are we doing today?
I'm excellent, Jaden. How are you going?
It's good, and I'm going well, thank you.
Excellent.
I first of all want to say a huge thank you. We just did a really great photo shoot.
Did.
I was so happy with the results. I can't wait for everyone to see them.
I'm really excited too. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Amazing, and I'm also really thankful that you've taken the time to come onto the channel and talk about what you do. I'm really grateful for that.
I'm really grateful for you having me.
It's my pleasure. And I guess for people watching at home, tell us, what do you do with your stuff when it comes to the creative arts?
Well, I am a drag performer primarily. I do drag and grotesque burlesque. I'm also a producer and stage manager and general facilitator of creation, I like to think. But for this process and for my performances tonight, I will do drag and grotesque burlesque.
Amazing. And I guess, you know, for people like who might not know what the term, what did you say,
Grotesque burlesque.
Yeah, so what does that mean to you? Like, what is that exactly?
To me, burlesque is such a diverse and unique form of artistic expression, and we see a lot of traditional beauty, and I love that. There's some incredible traditional and neo-burlesque performers, but that's not where my skill set lies.
Yeah.
Where my skill set lies is confused arousal and questionable decisions. I like to challenge the viewer in how they look at my body. I like to have them go, ooh, look at that, breasts. Oh, what are you doing with those breasts? I think I'm still turned on, I'm not sure. Because it's my body and I am choosing to put it on display for people.
Okay.
And I want people to challenge how they observe my form.
Wow, no, that's such an interesting way of putting it. So it's kind of like, you know, you're, instead of showing the beauty of it, you're as well showing a bit of a different side, going, you know, this is what I want to show you, and then kind of seeing people's response going
Yes.
from, I'm like not sure how to feel about that.
Exactly,
You know?
and that's what I want from people. My favorite reaction is like, I was really confused but aroused. Like I don't know why I liked it, but I did. But also it was very strange. And I'm like, yes, that's what I'm going for.
It's like you left me with a very strange feeling inside.
Yes, exactly. I want to show an impact or have an impact in that way.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's absolutely. And I think from the one performance I saw that you did, you definitely left me a bit like, what did I just watch?
Yeah.
Because like I was not expecting that, but absolutely, first of all, absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you.
Absolutely amazing. But yeah, like when I finished watching, I was like, I just watched. So I'm like, I had to process it, and I think, but it was absolutely incredible.
Love that. That's how I'm gonna stick in your mind. I can also seductively take off a garment, but if I can also peel off my own chicken skin breasts and eat it, then you're gonna remember that.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And so I have to ask, the name The Loose Moose.
That's right.
So I have to ask, how did you come up with that name?
Well, when I first came to Australia, I'm Canadian, and when I first came to Australia, someone said, oh my gosh, you're Canadian, can I call you Beaver?
Of all names.
And I explained to him the euphemistic qualities of the word beaver, which he claims to this day not to have known. He was from not Shepparton, but Marupna, outside of Shepparton. So whether that means he should have known or not, I'm not sure. Anyway, I said, no, as much as I love beaver, you cannot call me that name. You can call me any other Canadian animal nickname you can think of. And he came up with Moose, and I really liked it. It stuck. I think when you picture someone named Moose, you don't picture someone who looks like me. You picture a large, bald trucker, perhaps. So in day-to-day life, I go by Moose. And then having worked in cabaret and shows, there was always so many names that you knew a person by. Their stage name, their private name, and it got confusing. So when I decided to perform, I wanted to use the name that I had in my performance name so that you would always know. Whether you met me in performance mode or whether you met me personally, you'd know what the name was.
Yeah.
And from Moose to the Loose Moose, things just get pretty loose. So from what I said earlier, it's trying to be fun, it's trying to be wild. That's kind of the chaotic social justice bard energy I'm trying to go for. So
Amazing.
That's how I got the Loose Moose.
I love it. It's a name that sticks to you. Like, I don't think I think remember that name when I've seen so many performances. I'm like, oh yeah, Loose Moose. Yep, I know who that is. You know,
it rhymes. It's unique. It's not girl's name alcohol, so it stands out. Not to crap on that, but
good.
It's a unique way.
Oh no, absolutely, and such a incredible. And I love the backstory behind that, and it's so interesting because, like, for a second I was like going beaver, and I'm like, oh yeah, right, yeah, no, I get where you're coming from, but it's I do love that the next animal was moose, and I was like, okay, you know,
yeah,
because you know,
excuse me, it otherwise could have been maybe loon or bear or Canada goose.
Yeah,
I could have been the loose goose.
I mean, that still works, but yeah, I think you've gone with the right name, Loose
I like
Moose.
it too.
It has a really great flow to it.
Yeah,
and,
thank you.
I guess, you know, what inspired you to get into drag burlesque? Like, what was the inspiration behind that?
Well, I've always been a performer. I worked in theater and performed in theater my whole life. And I took a bit of a break and was stage managing and producing shows. But then the bug bit me again because I was around performers, and I'd always wanted to be a drag queen.
Yeah.
I loved drag, I loved drag queens, but I was told that I couldn't do it because I was a cis woman. And so I kind of thought, how can I scratch that itch without getting to be a drag queen? So I first started by being a drag king.
Okay.
A woman dressed up as a man, or male impersonation. And I really value the time that I spent in the drag king spaces. There are some incredible drag king artists, and the kind of stuff that is created in that space is really undervalued, and I strongly recommend going and checking out your local drag king scene. But I found that the kinging scene wasn't really a fit for me, so I changed a bit and started looking at burlesque. And I found that I wasn't really vibing with the soft, pretty, either classical burlesque and even some neo-burlesque. I still found that drag influence coming in.
Yeah.
And then after being fostered by, or rather under the influence of performers like Ruby Slippers and Ascadelia, and Betty Rose, and there's a bunch of incredible AFAB drag performers in Melbourne. I just kind of went, fuck it, I can do this.
Yeah.
So I've taken that drag influence and brought it into my burlesque. I've taken the burlesque influence and put it into my drag, which has led to sort of narrative art pieces, acts that tell a story, that show off the body, but in a way that I have complete control over.
Yeah.
And so that brought me here.
Amazing, and I love that you took like different aspects of like burlesque and drag and then put it in and created it as your own.
Yes.
And you know, creating it unique and something different, and you know, like I think it's amazing. Like as you said, people like Ascadelia, Ruby Slippers, as yourself, kind of pushing those boundaries to go, well, you know, we can do this, you know, and all that sort of thing. I think that's really awesome, and it's really inspiring to see people pushing those boundaries in, going like, you know, we can do this. I think, you know,
absolutely. All gender is a performance.
Yeah.
So what suggests that you cannot? You're already performing the gender that you identify as. So why not overperform that gender? Why not? Why not get to exaggerate for the sake of entertainment? That's all it is.
Yeah.
And when I was drag kinging, and still what I do now, my eyebrows are still very influenced from when I was kinging. Why not just take the sexy elements of all gender expression, throw that on one glittery body, and have a good time with it?
Amazing.
Thank you.
Best way to put it.
Absolutely.
And I guess, you know, talking about the art form of burlesque and drag, you know, talking about how it's, well, burlesque has been known as the art of tease. Like, so when it comes to, I guess, the nudity aspect of burlesque, is it something that you've been always comfortable with, or was it something you had to learn to be comfortable with?
It's been a bit of a process. It's the context in which I feel comfortable.
Yeah. Okay.
So when I'm performing on stage, my nudity is part of the performance, and I'm not really thinking about I'm nude in front of these hundreds of people.
Yeah.
I'm thinking this nudity is part of the act, and it supports the message I'm trying to get across.
Yeah.
So it's a tool within the act and within my arsenal to broadcast the information that I want. I'm still self-conscious about my body. I still have anxieties about how I'll be perceived, but that's in the context of, it's the difference of you catching someone changing. That they're going to be embarrassed about that potentially, but like, no, I'm choosing to put myself out there, and I don't have such a level of discomfort with it because it's part of the message. It's how I broadcast the message I'm trying to get across.
Absolutely, and I think you're right in saying that it's about the context. Because I think even for myself as a model, like I do at times where I'm like, oh, I'm not sure if I want to be seen naked at this time, or like that sort of thing. But then in like the artistic way, if it's part of the process, then it's kind of like it's part of the act, it's part of the performance, and you're just like, okay, and that's a bit more. But like, I think everyone has their self-consciousness and all that sort of thing. I think everyone deals with it in their own way. And but I think one of the beautiful things about like burlesque, drag, and any art scenes and all that sort of thing is seeing the beauty of the form and the way that people create art through our forms. And burlesque and drag is just one that it's just been amazing, and just seeing all these amazing performers such as yourself being confident on stage and just showing this is who I am, fuck off anyone who doesn't agree with that,
And that's what I'm trying to go for. We're talking about showing off the beauty of the form. I'm trying to show either to subvert the expectations of that beauty or show that beauty can be seen from other angles and aspects. There is beauty in the flub. There is beauty in the roles. There is beauty in the parts of ourselves that we've been told that we shouldn't love. And a breast can be gross. And, the things that we are seeking often in media and what media tells us to be beautiful, you can also find yourself attracted and repulsed by it at the same time. So
Absolutely.
It's all about evoking any kind of emotion out of a person from looking at the form, without just automatically assuming it's got to be sexual.
Absolutely.
But admittedly, there's a lot of sexual.
I think you could not put it any better. I love that. That's amazing. And I guess, so talking about performance-wise, so like, I guess, what are some of the performances that people would know you for when it comes to your burlesque or drag?
So the one that probably the most people know me for, that I've performed a lot, is I have an act called Chicken Strips.
Amazing name.
Thank you. Ira Luxuria named it. Credit to them. In Chicken Strips, I strip from a housewife preparing dinner to being the chicken preparing itself for dinner. I put on the little paper booties around the feet. I stuff myself with stuffing. I whip myself with rosemary and drench myself in lemon. Well, there's a couple other things that happen in the act, but I don't want to give away too many spoilers. I assure you,
go and see Loose Moose perform.
Indeed, but I assure you, this is where the grotesque burlesque comes in. So that's one of my known ones. The other acts that I do, as I said, are heavily influenced from my experience as a drag king, because men get to express their sexuality with a level of aggression that women don't get the opportunity to do so. So a lot of my performances have this kind of aggression is probably the wrong word, but what I mean is that with an explicit desiring nature. So a lot of my songs express, I want this person, I want to have sex with this person, I'm desperate for this. The act that you originally saw me in, Let's Make Out, is about being...
Pretty straightforward.
It's about being a bisexual, polyamorous slut, just like, let's make out, let's make out, let's make out. We'll all make out, it'll be great. So when you're coming to the Loose Moose show, you're going to see someone putting a lot of energy into looking like a dickhead who's really horny.
Amazing. And as I said, the performance you did was Let's Make Out, it was such a... It left me in just wondering when you left the stage going, no, what did I just watch? Just kind of like that wow. I'm like,
well, you're just going to have to come see me and find out.
Oh, please do. And I strongly encourage that to all viewers. Please do. And I do really love that that you kind of, it's your way to explore into these different aspects and kind of these different, I guess, I'm trying to think like stereotypes, like for example, like with, males and that sort of thing, and then you're trying to put that into your performances. I can definitely see what you mean when you're talking about that, and I think that's quite interesting. And like, I think also I have to come and see that. What was it? The chicken strips. I'm gonna have to come and see that.
I will have to let you know when I'm doing that. When it gets very prop heavy and very messy. So there's only so many places it can be done.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But yeah, what you were saying about the different ways of being able to express oneself, it's the type of thing you hear all the time, that your burlesque persona or your drag persona allows you to behave in a way that you couldn't otherwise.
In any other.
And that's certainly true for me. I'm a lot more confident, I'm a lot more outgoing. Not that I'm not on a daily basis.
Yeah.
But, when you're in drag, you do get away with a few more things than you would otherwise. Not in a way that...
no, of course.
Not in a way that you would cross any boundaries, but it's a subversion. It's a political statement. It's a lot of fun to be able to explore various sides of oneself in that way.
And definitely, I think with a lot of art forms, it's an expressive way to, express yourself that you wouldn't be able to do in any other, like, everyday life.
Absolutely.
A lot of art forms.
Absolutely. I was told that I had to be a lady and that ladies couldn't do drag. So I went, fuck you, I shall do drag and not be a lady.
Why not? Why not? And then the Loose Moose was born.
Indeed.
I love it. I love that you're not afraid to push those boundaries too.
Thank you.
I think that's really awesome, and I love the background story to your performances and just like creating your persona. I think that's quite inspiring, so thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. I encourage anyone who wants to try it to get in there and try it.
Great advice right there, and I think you've already answered my last question of going like, what would you suggest for people watching? What would you say?
Oh, in what way? What am I suggesting to them?
So if someone wants to, explore drag, explore into burlesque, like what would best advice be for them?
Go to see shows. Get inspired by the people that are out there. Most of my act ideas happen when I'm watching someone else being creative, because it inspires me to be so. If you want to perform, go to the shows you want to perform in.
Yeah.
You have to support the art that you want to be in. So go see shows. Go be inspired by other performers. Practice. Hang on your nose. You're gonna make bad art.
Oh.
It's definitely going to happen, and you will only learn from it. Trying to be perfect from the get-go, you'll never create anything.
Oh, absolutely.
So go to your local drag nights. Go to baby drag. Go to events where they like open mic kind of drag events, and just go out there and try it. But I do recommend having a strong idea. You can't just put on face. You can't just put on a wig and just move around. You really got to have a good concept.
Absolutely. And, I love that you said to not be afraid to make mistakes. So I think that's one of the things that I've seen with some people. They're trying to be so particular and make sure they're perfect all the time. It's like, it's okay to make mistakes.
Yes.
To be honest, sometimes if you make a small mistake, it might actually lead to what you want to do.
Absolutely.
And I've had so many times, and I think you could probably agree with this, that I've had times where I've made a mistake in something and I've been like, wait a minute, and then from that, it actually came, and I came up with the actual idea where I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm so glad I made that mistake, because if I didn't, I would have not come across that. Like, so I think not being afraid to fail, I think that would be the right way, and I love that. And as you were saying as well, go to performances, like, and go, because, and support each other as well, and, inspire and encourage each other. I think that's great advice right there.
If you don't see in the world you represented, you have to go represent it.
Absolutely. Could not put it any better. Once again, I want to say thank you for taking the time to come onto the channel and talk about what you do.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's my pleasure, and it was an absolute honor.
Oh, thank you so much. Check me out on Instagram @The Loose Moose and on Facebook @The Loose Moose Cabaret.
Absolutely. you've heard it here. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode. As the Loose Moose said, check out her amazing work. If she's performing in your area, go and see her. You will not regret it. Absolutely amazing. 2 thumbs up performer. If I had more thumbs, I would, 4, 5. Yeah, no. And as I keep saying in every episode, let's keep supporting our amazing community. Go to shows, go see performances, support performers, pay for photographers, pay for artists, everything. Let's just keep supporting our amazing community, and let's keep supporting each other's dreams and each other's goals.
You heard the man.
And comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next episode.